Good afternoon, friends. So yesterday was my first video, and it was a blessing. I want to talk about starting new things because yesterday I started a new video, and my only plan was to get my first video out there. So why would I just jump off a cliff and just start something without necessarily a plan for what I'm starting? Well, every time I would get into the planning phase for a video or writing an article, I would find a million things wrong with what I was saying. Of course, I'm trying to get into like perfection, right? But how many times have you ever started something new and it is perfect? If you're anything like me, not many. In fact, I can't think of one. So sometimes we have beginner's luck and we start off and we have success, what we call success right away. And that's part of it. Like, how do we define success, right? In my opinion, I've changed my definition. So failure used to mean that like anytime that I didn't reach the desired goal for something, I felt that I'd failed. Well, now I have this belief, this personal belief that if we're not winning, we're learning, right? And so I've kind of taken failure out of my personal dictionary, so to speak. And now, if as long as I'm learning something, like I'm not worried about whether I have the success I desire. I know that that success will come. And so if I just start imperfectly and keep going and have my eyes on where I'm going in the future, then that seems to work. So I just recently started at a new place, and I had done the same type of job in Las Vegas that I'm doing here in Chicago. Well, I started a class with new people at my job, and a lot of them were asking me, because it's their first time doing what we do, how long does it take to get good at it? How long does it take to get comfortable? All this stuff. I've always had this rule. Well, not always, but I noticed this a long time ago, that with something new, after the first 3 days, you become a lot more comfortable. Things slow down for you. Like in the NFL, they talk about the game slowing down for rookies. I feel like the first 3 days of any job is like being a complete rookie, right? And so it's kind of like starting off your first camp, like the first camp before your first season, which that's nerve-wracking, right? If you can imagine like the biggest, strongest athletes in the entire world, and here you come from college, boom, you're not stuck, but you're there with a bunch of professionals. After 3 days, you start to get used to it. After 2 weeks, it would become a routine. So I've always said 3 days, 2 weeks, 3 months. So after 2 weeks, you're a lot more comfortable. You have a clue of what's going on. You've gotten into the rhythm and the motion of things. And after 3 months, you're actually like contributing, and probably contributing pretty heavily. Otherwise, maybe you're not in the right place, right? And after a year, you're pretty much an expert in whatever you're doing in most fields. So that was my goal, just to jump off. Even though I had been told by a couple different people over several months that I should be sharing more, what stopped me was the fear or not wanting to do a terrible job. And finally, I had to just come to the conclusion that, hey, you just have to start somewhere and the universe will meet you. And it's a lesson that I've learned 100 times. Just like everyone else, I learn everything more than once. Well, maybe not like everyone else. I just have to tell you that usually I have to learn lessons more than once, unfortunately. But that's changing. I'm getting faster. So I believe that when we start something, not only do we get better and we get better because naturally we want to do a good job at things, right? But also I think that the universe meets us. So if we take 1 step, I think the universe comes 2 steps. If we take 3 steps, I think the universe takes 6 steps. And boom, finally we meet and we become more aligned with the road that we want to actually be on. And so that was part of it. Like, I don't feel completely aligned to where I want to be. Guess what? The truth is that we're here on earth to grow, and we're never going to be exactly where we want to be. But as long as we can find joy and peace and happiness and contentment with where we are, and yet still somehow have this desire to keep growing and growing and growing, and yet being content with where we are, there's magic that's going to come into our lives. And so that's all I really wanted to share today. I really appreciate your time. And for those of you tuning in and who this appeals to, who this resonates with, that's wonderful. For those of you that don't, not for everybody, and that's okay. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. Namaste. Much love, homies.